Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. West Ham United 0, Everton 0 at the London Stadium. John was there. John, before we get into it, overriding thoughts of the game in terms of when you were walking out the stadium, were you thinking decent points, or were you a bit sort of, that was an opportunity we've missed?
Well, I think my missus suffers the same response after every game at the moment, which is from leaving the ground to getting where you stop for the first time, either by sitting in your car or getting to the station in our case and getting on the train. It's non-stop. Why? Some missed opportunity.
So you just walk past it going, why?
No, me.
Oh.
Me. Doing 1,000 versions of why haven't we done this? Why haven't we done that?
Yeah.
You know, her favourites are, why can't we pass 3 metres to a guy in a blue shirt? You know? But yeah, I mean, missed opportunity.
3 metres, that's like an unbelievable pass.
Yeah, well, I just think it's dead cool. Someone as old as me doesn't say 3 yards. I've been reconditioned. Yeah, yeah, it's just massively frustrating. Because it's all what might have been type stuff, isn't it? You know, and you know what, that I say, I don't worry about anything I can't affect. Well, and everything in the past is done, isn't it? So they are points we will never get now. And certainly, you know, you can all have an off day, can't you? You can all miss an opportunity. You can all rock up to a place thinking, you know what, a draw would be all right here. And then when you see how they play, you think we should have won that. And if you don't change your mindset from, well, we'd be happy with the draw, to let's push on, we can take this, you end up with the draw. And if you play with fire, sometimes the other buggers get a goal near the end and you lose, which is what happened to Southampton. So those two games, very similar, I think, in the missed opportunity thing. Very similar in how the manager settles up, very similar in how the manager chose to make his substitutions, and very similar in the sense with he seemed to be happy with what he had up until the point, say, at Southampton, where they took it off us. And on this occasion, he's happy. And the platitudes can come out, you know, 1 defeat in 7, another good point on the road, and all that sort of stuff, which at face value, particularly apparently, as far as I can tell, to BBC pundits, seems okay to say those things. But if you watch the game, which Shearer said he had, he knows how turgid it was. And he knew it just needed one of those two teams to grab it by the scruff of the neck, and they could have had all the points. And I suppose the only good fortune we had was they didn't. They hit the post, and a couple of good saves from England's number 1.
Yeah, disagree with that. The Jared Branthwaite was back in the side. I think we all thought the momentum was building to get him back in the Everton side, and he did. He was in there, obviously Abdoulaye Doucouré returned, but no Dwight McNeil, who'd played the week before when not fit at Southampton, and resulting in him not being fit for this one as well. And that was really it with what we went, and obviously Lindstrom on the right and Jai on the left. And I actually thought Everton started the game quite brightly, really.
I think we did.
I thought we got hold of the game early on without being amazing. We were trying to move it. Do you think when we get to the final third, do you think it's a lack of ability? Do you think it's a lack of patterns of play? Or do you think it's a bit of lack of confidence as well at the moment? Because some of our decision making in that final third is really poor at times, and I'm not convinced that that's always just on the players, as in terms of ability. Or is it what do you think?
Well, as you did
a bit of everything.
yeah. As you went through that, I didn't know how long the list was going to be.
Yeah, there was a couple others, I admitted.
Yeah. But after 3 had already concluded, the answer was going to be, well, it's not lack of ability, I don't think. I think they do rush things a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a lack of calmness on the ball. I mean, particularly if you're watching it live, and people will see this at Goodison as well, we do seem to go through phases of the guy on the ball just wants to get rid of it. You know, give it to somebody else. So maybe that turns into lack of accountability. And I don't know why that is. I think it is a product of the way we play, that if we do get a chance, it might be the only one. So there's a bit of a rushing of that. Sometimes it falls to the wrong people. You think, oh crikey, if such and such a body had got that, buried it, sort of thing. And I just think we're quite predictable. So unless we can get at, which we don't do by the way, but unless we can get at teams quickly, they have so much time to set for what they think we're going to do. And it's all very frustrating because we haven't got blinding pace, but we've got enough in there to cause Premier League teams problems if we choose to go for it, really. You know, and you know, and it's a bit, well, it's a bit one-dimensional, really, at the end of the day, isn't it? And I think we are having players who are just not performing as well. I think, you know, DCL is isolated most of the time. And you can only make so many runs, you can only take so many knees in the back before you think, well, is it really my job to stand with my back to the goal, trying to do stuff on my own, watching this lot ambling towards me? And that's what it does look like sometimes, doesn't it? You know, ooh, that's, you know. So I don't know. I don't know.
We had, I mean,
the manager is not going to change, and therefore what we see is what we're going to get, I think.
Yeah, listen, it's
and I think I think that's the real bit that depresses. It's not going to change. You know, we sit here and we do the, look for it then, it wasn't there, the BWB stuff, where you change the people or change the people. And I think the in-flight changing of behaviours and stuff just isn't going to happen.
No.
So you either give the manager infinitely better footballers, almost, infinite's a big word, but hey-ho, therefore they just do it themselves almost. Or these players choose to do it themselves, or you change the manager, right? And sadly, if you're the manager, it's easier to change one, maybe three people than it is to change 10, 15, 20 people. Even if you want to, it's hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we had moments. And Jai had a little run off the left side foot of the shot at goal with comfortable save.
It was a pass to the keeper. Yeah.
But you know, that was... don't knock it, that represented our best moments in the first half, really, in front of goal. Lindstrom had put a couple of crosses in, which they dealt with. But it was that moment when we broke and it goes wide. Because we don't have fullbacks that run on the outside and open the play up for the wide player, everything sort of comes to a stop.
Well, they stopped, they turned back, yeah.
And that's it. And I just wonder sometimes if you're coaching Lindstrom, you're saying, just get out your feet and put it in there. And you say to Calvert-Lewin, when you see him on the wing, just make you run into the box.
Bloody hell, Baz. You know,
reinventing the wheel here,
it's so bloody boring to say the blindingly obvious. Because again, you start to say something awfully sensible. Stop doing it, it's not allowed. Right? Sensible, whereby you say to a Lindstrom who's got something about him, I think, right? Move the ball, clip it in. If there's no one on the end of it, that's not your problem.
Your job's done, yeah.
And you know, crikey, we're all buggers, or I am, you know, and we can remember wingers who used to do that and we used to win things, you know. And then you know what the crack is, but it's like Lindstrom does the movement, looks up, you know, and the right back's ambled forward enough so he can play it back to him. And then you think, well, you can clip it in first time as well, but no, he stops it, puts his foot on it, and it's gone, you know. So you have to assume the wingers are not being told your job is to get the ball into that danger zone, and if there's no one there, I'll go shout at them.
See, because the problem is the longer you delay, the more perfect your cross has got to be, because you let everybody...
Well, you've got to pick someone out then.
Exactly, you've got everyone set. Generally, you're playing centre-backs in the Premier League are all 6'3" and big and powerful. So it's great, you've got a 6'2" lad who's great in the air. But if you're letting everybody get set and get marked, then that cross has got to be something else for him to get on the end of it. So if you throw it in early before anyone's set, the advantage always going to be with the attacker. And that's, I think, where we break down at the minute. We're not good enough to play through and knock through teams. And we don't have runners in different directions, so someone's getting space. So we allow teams to get goal side, even if we do spring them. I think that's what's causing us an issue. That's why we require fullbacks to run on the outside to give that little extra. Either it's a little ball through to them and they cut it back, or by making that run the left back or right back on the other side thinks, I've got to go with him. And therefore giving the wide player a bit of space.
No, I agree. And the commitment levels aren't there. And I don't mean necessarily that's individual commitment levels. It's instructions on what's expected of certain players in certain roles. And because, again, it's a bit like if the wide guy, whoever it is in the moment, moves the ball and crosses it and there's no one there, he's put it in the right place.
Yeah.
And from a percentage point of view, I think when Lindstrom does cross it, they're usually good balls. They're in the right height, the right place, that sort of thing. But if the fullback doesn't make the run, because he's been told not to, and the opposition don't take long to figure that out, do they?
No.
It becomes, I just hold this guy up. There's no one running beyond him to distract me. What's he going to do? Well, he either tries to go past me and then I've got a chance, or not, as the case may be. And unfortunately, particularly when it's Harrison, for example, he has
to check back.
He checks back because he's on the wrong side and all that sort of stuff. So they're not being told, are they?
No, but that's what I'm saying. And because ideally you'd be throwing that cross in early, and you'd be hoping that your other wide player would be coming in behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So if for argument's sake in training it's gone wide to Lindstrom, what you're looking for is Calvert-Lewin making the run.
Yes.
The core, because
near post run, if you like,
The core, he can go near post and can peel
one
off.
of them. Yeah.
And as that goes in, and Jai's coming in, so them two do miss it. He's got himself. It's good play, because even if they committed, Everton would still have 6 back. If one of the fullbacks have gone, we've got 5 back. We're not really getting sprung with 5 defenders.
But we had that chat last week, didn't we?
We've had it, and I think that's. But I think when you see it play out in a game like this, where West Ham quite clearly aren't a good side at the moment, the confidence looks low. Obviously, Kudus was a big miss for them. He makes things happen for them. Antonio, in my opinion, is finished. He's just a battering ram, but he just looked like he didn't have the legs to go past our defenders anyway. Bowen I really like, and he's lively for them, but they just look like a team who were sort of, and we've been in that position, I think we are still in some games, but at home when things aren't going well, everything feels flat, and we've sat at Goodison and gone, it feels like nothing's happening, and you can see the away team go, this is here for us, and they go and take the game away from you. On Saturday, in the opening half an hour, it felt like that was it felt like we'll actually win.
Get on top of these.
We get a goal here. I think you said it on a different show we did. If we get a goal here, we'll win this, because they haven't got, there's nothing there that's bubbling under for them. Doesn't look like there's a great belief at the moment in what Lopetegui's doing with them. And like I say, you could put in Alvarez, who was missing with suspension. You could put in Kudus, and they might look a lot brighter. But right now, it just looks like they're a bit hit and miss. And that felt like an opportunity for us. And the only real time we sprung them on an overload was when Idrissa Gueye broke the play up, and off he went, and he rolls the Corey in. And if he lets that just run across his body and strikes it first time, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He's steaming, not in control. And then he takes an awful touch, which means it almost slows everything down, but it's not even a touch, so it's in front of him.
No, it's
a touch that sort of goes here, and then by the time he readjusts, Crescencio Somerville it is, isn't it, throws himself, and he hits the shot against his legs, and it was like, you could see Garner thinking, why haven't you just let that run across you and smashed it first time?
Well, you answered it, we talked about it earlier on today, because his focus was on doing the running bit. He wasn't moderating his speed or anything to say, well, the ball, I want it there, and then I'll just step onto it. As he got to the ball, it was his striking foot that was nearest to the ball, so he had to take it. You don't get that in the Premier League, do you? We did have occasions when when you're talking about first man, second man, the second guy getting the header is not DCL, right? So they go on the tick box of on target, but 0.0001 XG or something. But it just seems to be, to me anyway, generally, in the marginal gain area of elite sport, you have to take a risk.
Yeah, of course.
And if you get it wrong, as you say, you've broken with pace, there's 4 or 5 you're up the field, there's a big gap between them and the back four, the opposition get into that, they've got a bit of pace, wobble, 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 right? But if you score, doesn't matter how much big the gap is behind you.
Yeah.
And I just think we've always got that inherent worry around risk. Can I get back, or am I doing the right thing?
Because to win a game, and I suppose if you can apply it really in things like business and life, can't you? There's an element of risk in everything you do, and I just think, again,
no pain, no gain.
It's not exactly. And listen, this is not a big thing with the manager, because there is managers like this, but I think you do have to. He does sort of have to loosen it a little bit, I think, or even if he's expecting more, maybe get the message across more than of like, we do have to take a risk to win a game like that, because we get out with a point, which we did. But I'm sure you, on the way home, all the way home, were thinking, and the worst thing is, the manager said this after the game. He said, I'm wondering if we could have won that game. It's like, well, I can tell you, Sean, yes. We could have won it. And so therefore, he sort of sat there going, I'm wondering if we could have won the game. Yeah, we're all wondering it. The 3,000 Evertonians who've made the long trek down there are wondering. I'm not even wondering, are thinking we should have won the game. Not the way it played out, but at that stage of the game, 35 minutes in, say, when Decore has that break, they've done nothing. They haven't looked. Pickford's probably freezing because he's had nothing to do. It was unbelievable, actually, watching it. I'm sure you've sat there thinking, these as a home team have done nothing. There was not an attempt at goal. There was not a single attempt at goal till the 43rd minute from West Ham.
Just before half time.
So there was nothing. The crowd was quiet. It just felt like, it felt like sort of a game in April where both teams have got nothing to play for and both don't look like they really want to be there. Just sort of like going through the motions, them more so than us. But that's why I think we had a great opportunity to just go that extra little bit, put a bit more pressure on them. Because I think had we scored, John, I think we would have asked massive questions of them, whether they had the fortitude to come back.
Their fans, speaking to it's not as easy to speak to the home fans at that stadium because of the way it is, and everyone turns up at the last minute, sort of thing. But they probably were thinking, we'll settle for a draw as well, hence what proves the matter is a bit turgid, both happy with a draw, but then they'll have come away, when they put some legs on, last 15-20 minutes and a couple of saves from England's number one and all this thing, we should have won that.
With the post,
we didn't deserve it, but we'd have taken it. And then you're into that confidence thing, aren't you? We didn't play very well today, but we won. But that's 2 weeks in a row, or 2 away games in a row, whereby we've come away, first time with nothing, this time with a point, thinking we should have done better than that. And it's got to be, we've had this chat thousands of times, if the players per se would confront constraint, my phrase of the day, I haven't used it for years, so I'm going to use it all day today, whereby they just took the initiative themselves. But players don't do that. We know they don't do that. And the manager just clearly thinks, or thought, whatever, that little bit of extra risk you have to take by being a bit more on the front foot, maybe he doesn't believe it would deliver the outcome. And that's the thing about risk, right? If I increase the risk, but the reward isn't going to go up, why am I doing it?
Why am I doing it?
And I thought, Jared was really quite rusty. And he could have,
early on he was.
He was early on. He could have got caught out a couple of times. Tark still diving in 25 yards from goal, and you think, why? We on another day it could have been another Southampton. So the saving grace of that is what it is that we didn't lose. But, and there is a big B on that, but should have been so much better, or could have been so much. You never know, do you? It could have been so much better.
Well, like I said, they hadn't done anything till sort of like the 43rd minute, and then they sprung into life. Jared Bowen forcing a good block from Jordan Pickford, good save, and then he put Antonio through just after it, and he skipped round Pickford, but Pickford covered the ground and made another save, and it went out for a corner, and Everton dealt with the corner.
But how poor they were, fundamentally the first half, was it was only in the second half, perhaps this is me, but it was only in the second half, having assumed he was injured, because that's what the media stuff was saying, I thought, bloody Bowen is playing. So, anonymous.
Yeah. He was anonymous till, like you say, the 44th minute. He could have scored the first goal.
That's what I mean. Yeah, he suddenly pops up. Boom, you know.
And they come out, and I thought at half time, I thought the manager would say, like, go and put your foot on the throat a bit here, because it's here for, because that's what we were saying at half time. We were like, this game's here for the taking. You know, listen, at 2:45, someone goes, would you take a point today? You might go, yeah, maybe, depending, thinking of what West Ham can be like. Yeah. But the minute that game is in and it's flowing and you're looking at it going, these actually have done, these are here to beat, you know. And
we don't change. If we had a predetermined plan that was all about a draw, we're comfortable with that. Yeah. And it doesn't change in game, does it?
You see, before the game, it was, I think the Southampton results have made this the necessity to. No, I think it was a win.
No, I know, but
because I'd seen something the other day. It was like, is it a must win or is it a must not lose?
It was Ian from the Echo.
In fact, you told me about it. It was on Friday, and it was more of a must win because of A, what we've got coming up, and B, what we've sort of thrown away. And again, looking at it, and as the game is going on, you're thinking, this is here. So when we come out for the second half, I thought we'd just go up a bit, go up a level, because we've got, but if anything, we dropped off the second half. We had one moment where Mangala done really well, skipped down the line and dug a cross out really well, and Lindstrom has a header. That's the keeper, makes a good save. He should save it, but it was a good header by Lindstrom. I thought did all right the other day, actually. Thought he's
done enough to start the next
I think he's looking more and more like, you know, he's comfortable, getting more comfortable with it. We had another Lindstrom header which he flashed wide, but it was going nowhere. I think it's a shoulder more than anything. But you could see Dom's frustration growing as like, why aren't you putting balls in for me to attack? And then West Ham hadn't really offered much at that stage. And then we made the changes. He took Dom off.
Well, change.
Not the change, took Dom off, put Beto on. And it was like, is that the moment where, I'm not saying he should have done, by the way, because I think he should have, 100% should have done it at Southampton last week. He should have gone 2 up front and just gone for it for at least 15, seeing if it forced them into anything. I was just wondering on Saturday, you being in the ground watching it, were you thinking when Beto stripped off, just go with the 2 up and see if
absolutely,
because we can win it.
As I was the week before.
Yeah. I just felt against Southampton, it was the most obvious thing to do because they were so poor. But West Ham weren't much better without being disrespectful. Like, they got better players than Southampton, but the way they were playing wasn't.
No, I agree.
They weren't great, and I was just wondering if Decore for. I mean, my dad doesn't really moan too much, but he was fuming with Decore because he wasn't in the game. No. Kept giving the ball away, wasn't in the game, and it was like, is that the moment to go? Beto, going up with him, knock their centre backs about, see if you can get Dominic a little bit of space. And we didn't. We just went like for like.
It's not even like for like, though, is it?
Well, it isn't, because they don't play the same. But you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
One lad back up front.
And it comes across as preordained substitution.
Maybe.
And DCL just banging his head against a brick wall. No, bless him. Of course he's going to turn off. I know he's been criticised. His performance has been criticised by some people, and I'm not even saying it. Oh, you leave Calvert-Lewin on no matter what. I'm just saying, in the context of the game, I personally would rather have 2 centre forwards on the pitch than a midfielder who. Mate, we're a team that doesn't score goals.
Yeah, that's why.
Right, and we've got a manager who, to his own admission, when he quoted in the media, said, I had 9 years playing 4-4-2 and I was getting criticised for it because it was old-fashioned, and now it's like he'll do anything other than have two up front. And surely it's common sense that if you're trying to create a change in what's happening to you, if you believe, particularly on the road, we're playing okay, we just can't score goal, whatever, well, do something different then. And 2 strikers would be something, and I don't mean Michael Keane, but 2 strikers, or 2 centre forwards, or 2 lads up front, whatever. But then you've got to produce, the wide guys to give them the opportunities.
I suppose in Sean Dyche's defence, he might me thinking a point's all right, a point's decent here, and the framework stays the same, doesn't drop a midfielder out of it. We can go to 5 across the middle if we have to with the 2 wide men.
So did the manager conclude the previous away that a draw was okay at Southampton? In the same context
again, without being, I'm just looking at it from a totally objective thing, right? We're probably being a bit, optimistic, I'll put it kindly.
What's this wee pale face? Yeah.
It's optimistic, I think, if you're thinking the manager will go against this principle. I'm not saying, listen, he's wedded to his own thinking. And Sean Dyche's thinking might be, the only, where it falls down is we don't win home games. If it was we'll win at home and nick points away, no problem with that. Managers have done that forever. So we might have been thinking last week, well, he did. He said we almost got a point against the team in the bottom of the league. Hasn't won a game. That was his. We almost got a point. That to me was crazy, because it was a game he should have been saying, I'm sat here absolutely livid that we haven't won that game, let alone lose it. Because I think that gives the right message. But he didn't say we almost got a point. Well, this week he did get a point, so he'll be looking at that from away. I know we can look, and I can sit there and watch. I've got no jeopardy on me other than I want my team to win games, and go put another striker on and try to win the game. I can say that as a fan. You've travelled last week 6 bleeding hours, whatever it was, to Southampton. This week 5 to London to watch the West Ham game, and you're sat there not seeing Everton score a goal and going, why haven't we gone for it a bit? We've got lads on the bench. Help the striker out, put 2 on. You know what I mean? You're right, but what I'm saying is the manager in his wisdom might go, I'm happy with 0-0 away from home. Yeah,
but I see the manager on the touchline with the body language says, I don't know what to do.
Okay.
Or what I want to do, my assistants don't agree with, or what my assistants want me to do.
There was a bit.
And I don't agree. There
was a moment, right? And again.
I'd have to watch the whole bloody thing back to see where that was, that he was doing that.
There was a moment on Saturday, and again, this could be way out of context, right? This could be way out of context. But Ian Woe is stood next to Sean Dyche, and he asks him something, and Dyche responds, and Woe goes and raises it. Now, he might have said, should we get chicken curry, or do you want pie and chips? And Dyche might have said, you know what, I don't fancy either of them, want an omelette. And Woe might have been fuming for that. But there was just that moment.
We need those lip readers. We need lip readers.
But no, and listen.
Ian's going, hey boss, how do you fancy 2 up front?
And he goes, behave yourself.
Yeah.
It could be whatever. But they made changes, didn't they? And they put their positive. They brought on Danny Ings. And when you see Danny Ings come on, you think, oh, for fuck's sake. Because he likes a goal against Everton, doesn't he? And they got a little bit of energy from that, didn't they? And
in the stadium, right, albeit it probably exaggerates it because they're kicking towards us when this happens. It still seems like, and we've talked about it, you talked about before, they were flat, this, that and the other. They came out in the second half, not much changed. Then the manager goes, right, come on lads, 3 of you, boom, right? And just that, if you like, commitment to making changes, 3 lads all of a sudden, I'll show you why you should have picked me. And that's when the fun started. That's when it started to turn into, oh, bloody hell, we're going to lose this. Well,
we had Pickford made a really good save from Rodriguez that came through, and Tarky.
He was one of the subs, of course.
Of course. Whiz past Tarkovsky, and he's gone and pushed it away to his left. And Danny Ings on his left foot, another sub, has a shot that way, which Pickford should save. It would have been fuming if he did let that one on, but he got it away from harm's way. Then Crescencio Somerville runs through and should score, and it's the inside of the post, and you're waiting for it to roll along the line and go in, and luckily it bounces to safety. And at that stage, you're thinking, this is coming for them. They felt like they were the ones in the ascendancy.
But we didn't have any need to make any changes, apparently.
And we had nothing then, though, did we? We didn't. We brought Jack Harrison on and stuck him in.
But that was like a few minutes to go, wasn't it?
But trying to, I don't know, maybe fresh legs, he's thinking. But you still were thinking, this feels like last week.
It did.
This feels like Danny Ings is going to smash one in, and you get beaten, you go.
As soon as Ings come on, she said he's going to score, isn't he?
Well, he was sporting his new luscious hair, remember? I mean, a year ago he was baldy. I have no issue with it whatsoever, by the way. do it. In fact, there's a couple I see who've had hair transplants that should go where Danny Ings went, because this is tremendous.
Is it? Okay.
Isn't it? Luscious hair. And obviously Jordan Pickford pulls off in the 90 whatever it was minute, and absolutely tremendous stop. It's Tarkowski, and he somehow tipped it over at your end, tipped it over
Did
the
it
top.
Tark as well as hit the ground?
It's batting through and flicks up, and the reaction's incredible. It's incredible.
It is.
Reflex outstanding, and proving why he's England's number one. But it was an amazing save, but they could have lost it. That was like, and then you come away and you go, 0-0's not bad, you know, and the manager can say, oh, you know, good points on the road, but you're going, without the keeper making them saves there, we've lost the game. They've hit a post, they've hit...
But I'm talking...
self-inflicted.
Well, yeah, absolutely, unforced errors. Where's the AOPTA, where's the unforced errors stat? Right, not just for us, for everyone. But, you know, we talk about risk, and you have to take some more risk than we're taking to try and turn draws into wins and stuff like that. But the longer you, particularly away from home, the longer you go into a game with that very passive behaviour, the risk goes up that they get one and you can't recover from it, which is what happened to Southampton ultimately. You know, they broke, bang, goal. We can all be critical about where was Mako, what about this, what about... They still scored. And because we're predicting, if nothing else, we need to do something to take out the perception that we're predictable. Yeah.
Well, Leicester bit us on the arse, didn't he? You were there that day. That was an easy away game as you'll ever see. That winning 1-0. It was the only sort of leveller was the rain, because the rain was crazy. But Everton had chance after chance to put that to bed. Leicester score from nothing. There was no time in the game we were under any pressure. You get a corner and equalise, and then you're under pressure because you're thinking, my God, these haven't even been in this, and they might win it.
But you look at this season, right? And we listen, because we're all emotive, aren't we, ultimately, right? And so we just pick out, you know, the character, the Evertonian who thinks the manager's doing a good job because these players are rubbish, right, sort of thing, and he's doing the best that he can. And I know Ped's with me that he isn't doing the best he can with the resources. But if you go game by game, we've just spent 20 minutes, half an hour talking about West Ham, Southampton, Leicester, Bournemouth, Villa you accept because they're a good team, but you're still 2-0 up. You know what I mean? There's 5 games, and you're thinking, just pick up 5 more points from those games.
You're feeling really good about yourself, aren't you?
You're 4 points off Champions League, and we're then saying, God, we're crap, but look where we are. You know what I mean?
That's the frustration, isn't it? Because
this division isn't top quality.
We've said this a few times, but we've almost put ourselves in a relegation battle. We've talked ourselves into it, or the club has talked itself into going, we're in a relegation battle. When I keep saying it, we finished way above Forest. We'd finished way above the other clubs around us, Brentford and all that. They weren't thinking we're in a relegation battle. They're thinking we'll have a better season this season. But from day one, Everton have been talking about being in a relegation battle, despite bringing in 7 players in the summer. So none of it rings true, and these points we've thrown away are killers, really, because, like you say, you come away and you go 0-0 at West Ham. Well, in isolation, you go, it's all right, it's not a bad point. Had we beat Fulham and won at Southampton, we got a decent point that. But on the day, in the context of the game, for an hour, it was really, really comfortable. And then our goalkeeper, and we'll look at his stats now, has ended up getting us a point. These are Jordan Pickford stats from the weekend. His passing accuracy 62%, made 6 saves in the game, 5 for inside the penalty area, prevented 1.21 goals, so they're the ones that are really should have been goals, and made 1 high claim during that.
Isn't that 1.21 greater than their XG?
Yeah, well, depending where you look. It depends who you look at. So the XG is higher on, I can't remember which one it is. SofaScore, I think it was 0.88.
Right.
But on another one, it was above 1.
Yeah, but low ones, like 1 point.
Yeah. But that's what the saves, I think, accumulate to, though. That's why. But he's had to come up. See, for me, the Bowen one in the first half, I expect him to save, which was at the near post. He pushed it wide. The Antonio one, he blocked, which I expect him to block because it was straight. But the Rodriguez one was a really good save because it come past someone. Ings, First one, I expect them to save it.
But the second one, the reaction.
But the second one, the reaction to that, and that's a goal for me.
Yeah.
That was as good as a goal it was in. If the speed of it, the deflection, it was a goal. But he's come up big for us, and again, and that, you know, like I say, you can't always hope that he gets you out of trouble.
He talks to the bench a lot.
He's frustrated as everyone else, I imagine. He's probably thinking, why aren't we doing better? They know the quality of the player. People will talk Everton down. Evertonians love it. They're better than us. They're better than us. They're better than us. They're not really. You just got a massive downer. But we've also...
Yeah.
The only real way to do it...
Win games!
And you can't ever... You're never going to be able to do it. Of course you're not going. It's always going to be a hypothetical. But the only real way to know whether a manager's getting the most out of the squad is if you put a different manager in and go, well, yeah, you have 11 games, see how many games you win. Do you know what I mean? And then you go, oh, actually, that manager's better, get him. You know, it's not going to happen. But
how many times do you see...
look at it and go...
Yeah, you know, players check out, don't they? You know, they vote with their performance. And it only needs to be, because of that marginal gain thing again, it only needs to be that at 98 instead of 99. No. And
fine margins,
all that fine margins,
and it isn't all on the manager.
Ten Hag goes on holiday, Van Nistelrooy. What's the problem? You know,
won 3 out of 4, then do the other one.
You know,
so, well, that's it. So that then you go, oh look, them players are actually quite good. You seen him with Villa, didn't you? Gerrard. They were going, and then Emery comes in, and all of a sudden they end up finishing 4th, and they've been fantastic. So it can happen. I'm not saying Everton would do that. I'm just saying that it's. Where does it lie? But I just think the players as well have got to take a bit more responsibility.
Of course they have.
They've got to go, we can beat these. Even if you think the fella on the sidelines chatting nonsense, go and perform. And Pickford's done that. The only thing I didn't like was he said that was proper Everton that today. And I want that you have to pull us out of trouble against a team that hasn't really in great form. And we get a 0-0 draw, and you say that was proper Everton. I understand the digging in and throwing your bodies. I'm like, yeah, I want that to be me Everton. But the other bits, the attack,
the other 3 quarters of the game.
Yeah, the other bits, we need to tidy up on. But
we're going to have this chat again. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, no. But listen, we know where we are right now. It almost feels like just as a football club again. It's just like this at the minute. Can you keep your head above water? But the frustration is for me is that we've put ourselves into a position where it looks like a relegation battle when I don't think it needs to be, and that to me is the real frustration, because I think. But
I also don't know, by the way. Sorry, it's just popped into my head.
Go on.
Not really to do with the game itself, but how some journalists are still recycling the financial issues, etc., right?
Yeah, go on.
Piling that on to the pressure thing.
Yeah.
And come January, they could have another PSR problem. And you got Martin Samuel talk today, what's happening with the interest, all that sort of stuff. When all the private background briefings are no issues.
Yeah, yeah.
And if we're talking about marginal stuff, players who know that they're completely safe in their position because either the manager loves them to death and is always going to pick them, or there isn't anyone else because 2/3 of your other strikers are injured, or whatever. They all need to find that extra 1%, don't they? And the extra 1% comes from there may be somebody else. There may be a change in approach, hence the change the people thing. But allowing that cloud just to hang there, ownership change, that's not going to happen in November.
Do you not think?
No, I don't think so now. Right? It'd be great to wake up and there's a mega surprise,
Yeah.
But it's almost like tomorrow never comes, isn't it? And you'll get people thinking, why haven't the Freakins made a decision on the manager? Because they might not get the football club.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And therefore, it's always tomorrow. Sometimes you have to go, no, let's make it today, actually. The manager's got nothing to lose. Go back to the next game or the next away game. When he comes to do that, I'll take Dom off and I'll put Beto on. No, actually, I'll leave Dom on. Right? Particularly this, you talked about Southampton and this game. Decore's performance in this most recent game made it much easier because there was an obvious guy to take
But you
off.
could have gone. You could have sort of done what I thought he should have done last week, really, and just tried it for 15 minutes and seen if it got us up the pitch. Did it affect it a little bit? If it really looks like, oh, we're losing the midfield, and that's going to be an issue for us, then you take them off.
Yeah.
And you go, no, we need the midfielder in because I've tried it. I just feel like there's times when he could just go, this is what we're going to do, and see how we get on with it. You know, try for 15, test it.
Yeah.
I think Dom, I think he come off after the hour mark, was it, or something? Trying to check now, but it seemed, on mind, it felt like it was like 63, 64 minutes, something like that.
It's past the hour, that's for sure.
And therefore,
It was definitely past the hour.
Yeah, does it tell you here? Dominic Calvert-Lewin. 75 minutes it was. God, it was even later.
Only
than
15 to go, yeah.
But he could have made that sub 10 minutes earlier, though, and beat the Corey. And then gone, we're going to try this for 10, 12 minutes. Does it get us up the pitch? Are them two lads knocking the West Ham lads about a bit? Does it look like it's something we'll get a bit of fruition from? And if it doesn't, you can correct it pretty quickly, because that's your job. You're the coach. That's your job to go, actually, no, I've upset the structure here. We'll get him off and put whoever on. Because you're making that change. You made that change anyway. That could be what it was. But listen.
So we had 8 minutes after their subs.
Yeah.
So you've remembered 60 or 67.
It was them, wasn't it?
That's when their 3 subs came on. Yeah. So you might think the manager, so let's see how they're set up.
Of course.
But that takes 1 or 2 minutes, doesn't it? And then you think, well, now we can do stuff.
But listen, we got a point and it's a clean sheet.
It could be worse.
You're looking at it.
That's the point. No point. You know, you know what I mean. But it could have been worse, because it could so easily have been a reference of what happened at Southampton.
If Pickford is unsighted for the Ings shot, they win it, don't they? The 94th minute or 93rd.
It was in added time anyway.
And therefore, that goes in, it's game over. And you go 2 weeks on the run. Wow, we've blown that, haven't we? So, anyway, let's have a look at the overall stats from the game. There we go. West Ham with 11 shots, Everton 18, but 6 on target for the Hammers compared with 4 for the Toffees. 447 passes to West Ham, 450.
3 more.
And look, Everton won the possession, which is the reason why we didn't win the game. Really.
Was that 15% too high for you?
No, way too high to try and win a game of football from Everton's perspective. But listen, it's the point we go into the international break. The biggest thing now, I guess, is getting Chimiti, getting Breuer fit, Seamus getting him fit, with the hamstring, letting that settle down. We'll be 2 weeks closer to James Garner being available, Irabunan being available. Start getting these lads back and give the manager more options. And then if he doesn't use them, he's got no excuses, has he?
No.
Try and put more options on the bench, and hopefully we come out the other side with it. Because we're going into the run of games now where there's so many games between now and January. It's incredible. And
heavy month.
It's heavy.
Heavy month in numbers of games. He's going to have to use them all. And it's going to be, and we play all the top teams. Yeah,
so,
and ever the pessimist, my missus, you know, when we're on the train, is thinking, well, if we're playing all those teams in one chunk, then we're going to do it again, aren't we?
Yeah, when we do.
April, isn't it? April. So we almost have to do something out of this hard run of games. And then we've got January, February and March to get a head of steam up, to go through it again in April. And then, amazingly, if we get through that, the remainder to the end of the season is all paper games that you would expect to get stuff out of.
Although I did see Newcastle fans celebrating the other day, saying this is it now, it's written in the stars that we relegate them final game of the season. That's what they're playing for. And we're playing into those worries right now, aren't we? If we haven't got enough points, Anthony Gordon, you know, for them, that's their wish, that Anthony Gordon sends us down on the last day.
Well, he won't be in the team. Barnes will keep playing.
Gone to Liverpool by then. Yeah, listen, I think we'll be all right, but we do need to start winning some games.
We do.
Very quickly. To just, if anything, to give us all a little bit of a break, you know, because I'm sure we'll take points in games no one expects us to.
Absolutely.
But we've got, in my opinion, the next two home games, we have to take 6 points. Brentford and Wolves, we've got to, by hook or by crook. We've got to take 6 points, because other than that, we will be in big trouble at Christmas otherwise, and it'll be a big mountain to climb. You know what I mean? You know what it's like when you stay down there. You don't seem to be able to get away from it, no matter what you do.
Well, that's the chat we had at lunchtime about Wolves. Wolves can get into a hole, can't they? As good as they might think the squad is, the pressure of being in the bottom three is quite heavy.
And even when you win a game, you don't go nowhere.
That's
and you're
right.
like, oh, we've pulled points, but they're still 4 ahead of you. So you know, and all that.
Yeah.
Every game we found this last season, didn't we, with the points deduction? Once we'd had when we started losing games, not winning, no matter what we did, we would just mile, and you were playing with the pressure every time. Going, we should have this many, and it plays with your mind.
It does play with your mind. Yeah.
We need a win. Got to beat Brentford at home. Right, that's it from us. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Good point, bad points. What do we need to do? Let us know. If you are a Toffee TV Premium member, we're going to go through your comments right now, live. If you want to become a Toffee TV Premium member, the link is in the description. Otherwise, see you later.